Ready? Play.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever time it is in the world, wherever you are tuning in from. I apologize for the delay. A second, we need to just plug something in, so hopefully you can hear me okay, even a bit better than I already am. By the way, Djokovic has already been broken at the beginning of this match, ladies and gentlemen. What about that? Let me know your thoughts in the live chat. Is Djokovic a bit vulnerable today against Senor Etcheverry? Do we think that he's vulnerable? Cool. Hopefully I'll be coming through even more crisply now. I have my microphone all plugged in. It is deuce, by the way, on the Etcheverry serve. So Djokovic is now applying a little bit of pressure. Indeed, Ghosty. Nice to see you as well joining me for these matches that we've got on this evening. Yes, Shelton is now certainly back in that match, having lost the first set to Mr. Bublik. Oh, okay. Just a second. I'm not sure if this is Damien suggesting that he might be able to join. Let's have a look. Yeah, brilliant then. I will share the opportunity right now. You can always just log in if you want, Damien. What time is the Rune match on? It's not on yet, is it? Anyway, Djokovic has a break point. I will get back to the Djokovic moment in a second. Back to deuce, by the way, after a good serve there from Etcheverry. Go, Damien. Come and join whenever you want, then. Thanks, Ghosty. Thanks, Damien. Oh, I saw Fognini's match. In fact, I saw it until the end of the second set. But yes, Fognini was on fire. Now he will play. I think he's going to play the. Who's he going to play? Is he going to play the winner of? No. It's Dimitrov is already through, and he'll play the winner of this match between Etcheverry and Djokovic, which is 10 minutes old. Forehand return from Novak goes long, and Etcheverry has held 2 games to love. Maybe I should put a poll out there for you people. Make sure you hit the like button, by the way, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. As soon as I see Damien, I'll bring him in. Ghosty here, giving us a nice bit of commentary as well. Aside from the 2 matches you can see on the screen. Good forehand winner there from Novak, by the way, 15 love. Kachanov losing today. Maybe that will have upset a few brackets, certainly mine. Botic, poor old Botic, out in straight sets. Safiullin as well being Korda. I know he was up a set and a break there. Actually, Korda managed to get it back on serve before eventually Safiullin winning that in the tiebreaker there. Dimitrov, Wawrinka, which of course we covered on the show earlier. Yeah, very solid from Mr. Wawrinka. We have Damien. How are you?
Yo. Yeah, I kind of figured that you probably wouldn't mind me joining, but
Not at all.
It's always good to ask. So
yeah, I think I did post in a WhatsApp group that we're in. That,
you did, but like 5 hours earlier, so I didn't know if
true.
maybe your plans changed in any way. Or I think
No,
they
but I
actually
did have
did,
a,
right?
I
Because you were supposed to be here earlier or something like
yeah,
that.
I had a siesta, Damien, and I didn't set the alarm. So I was thinking of not saying anything, but you know what? There you go, ladies and gentlemen. I fronted up. I should have been here at 7 o'clock. Didn't start till
No, actually,
7:15.
I didn't. I wasn't even like that. That wasn't what I was
Okay.
mentioning because earlier in the group chat you said that you were going to start at like 5:30 or something like that, and
Yeah, although actually in
yeah,
the end I didn't set it till 7, but yeah, no, I
yeah.
set it for
That's why I
7 o'clock.
wasn't sure if maybe some plans changed. Maybe there's going to be like 5 people here, and and it's just going
um,
to be too
yeah,
much.
anyway, Rune was already broken, right?
Yeah, yeah, the first game just like Etcheverry, but I did not see that first game, so
Yeah.
I just turned it on.
And Garin is up a break in the decider on Tommy Paul. Yeah, so it's 2-love to Rune, as we can see there on the screen. Novak, by the way, looking a bit rusty.
Well, as he should, right?
Yeah, I mean, he should, but you'd think that the rust would go away quite quickly. Well, in fact, he looks like he's going to hold serve here. It's 40-15. I actually don't have Novak to win this tournament, whereas most of the time over the last few years, probably going into these tournaments, I've been having Novak to win it. But I've gone for Yannick Sinner.
I can get that. Like he's been very close to getting a Masters 1000 title. I just don't know if it will be in Rome.
Right.
Yeah, I would probably fancy his chances more at some slightly faster events, but it's possible. Definitely, there are some question marks about Djokovic and Alcaraz. I mean, there aren't any question marks regarding Alcaraz's form, but I just figure if he runs into like a very tough opponent, I think he might lose in like quarters, fourth round. His draw is actually pretty good, so maybe it won't happen, but. Just thinking that maybe Barcelona, Madrid, Rome, maybe the physical and mental toll at some point will be tough to handle. But it's Alcaraz. He might as well just run away with the first 3 matches in like 3 hours total, and then then he's in the semis or whatever. And
Yeah.
win
Yeah, but
something.
it's actually Novak's draw, which is pretty tricky. And for
Yeah.
me, I just have a feeling that Novak won't win the tournament, but I wasn't quite sure at which round because his rounds from the quarterfinal onwards, I've got him due to play Rune in the quarters, Sinner in the semis, and
Mm-hmm.
Carlos potentially in the final. But I actually got him going out to Rune. But it wasn't because I necessarily think that's exactly where. I just was like, where is Novak going out? Whereas normally it would be the other way around. And as for Carlos, I didn't predict him to win it because actually kind of similar lack of logic, perhaps you could argue, by just like, I don't think Carlos can keep winning all these tournaments all the way up to Paris. So he's going to not win one of them and someone else is going to win it. So I've just gone for Sinner for that reason, really. Shelton, by the way, is 3 now on Bublik.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get it. So where did you have Alcaraz losing after all
Final
in the
to Sinner.
final?
Yep.
Final, okay.
Final to Sinner, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I can see it. Yeah, he might win this whole thing, but it would be pretty natural to start running out of gas mentally, physically at some point. It also doesn't really set him back at all if he loses to someone along the way. I think Djokovic losing here would be terrible for him. Like, would be
Yeah.
absolutely tarnishing his Roland Garros chances. Like there's no way he plays Lyon or Geneva, I think, or maybe we're gonna be surprised, but probably there's no way. He's not gonna want to play 3 weeks in a row, and yeah, it would just be a disaster for him. And Alcaraz losing in the third round, fourth round here, not really a big deal for him at this point.
No, indeed. A lovely drop shot there from Djokovic, making it love 15. I just
Funny
saw.
enough, Rune just won a point with a drop shot as well, and I was like,
There we go.
Is he watching that much too?
No, but I did see a quick picture of Rune's biggest fan, which is of course his mother in the crowd. She liked an Instagram post of Talking Tennis recently, but then so did
Cool.
Holger Rune. But I do think they're one and the same person because there's a lot of stories about the fact that Rune's mother basically controls his social media.
I mean, it's not even a story. I mean, they said it a few times that
Oh, okay.
she does the social media work. At least that's what it was before. I'm sure Holger does plenty of social media himself too. Like there's been comments, photos that I think were clearly taken or posted by him, but But yeah, she seems to do a lot there.
Yeah.
And there was another stunning drop shot like the point after, so quite something.
Yeah, Novak now applying a bit of pressure to the Etcheverry serve. Yeah, I mean, if he was to lose today, that would be pretty dramatic. It's 15-all now, by the way. But I guess everyone's favourite for the French Open right now, on the ATP side at least, is, I guess, Carlos. Is there an argument against him? I mean, there's probably arguments against him, but is there an argument to say Novak should be favourite?
I don't know if there's an argument against him, frankly. No, I mean, we can start the conversation when Djokovic does extremely well in Rome. I'm not saying wins the title. I don't know. Just plays a few great matches. Maybe loses to someone. Yeah, Rune, Sinner, Alcaraz. Who knows? But when he actually does that, probably we can start the conversation. No one is really treating Nadal seriously. Maybe again, that's going to be a very huge error on our part.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, all the other dangerous guys, we'll see if they even get to Alcaraz at the French. Like, it's not a given that they're going to be very deep. So yeah, we can start the conversation if Djokovic does very well in Rome. But for now, it's not really something anyone argues against.
His 5 sets on clay record, of course, there only being one tournament a year on clay, is not exactly phenomenal. 5 sets, though, on a hard court wasn't a problem for him in the US last year, of course. So I'm not suggesting he has a 5-set issue, far from it. I'm just trying to find reasons that you might go, well, for me, Novak's still favourite.
I mean, on clay, I guess he has never lost in the 5th set. He lost in 4, right, to Zverev.
He did, yeah. Although he nearly
of course,
lost
there was that.
5,
Exactly. There was that one
the
against
player he's
Ramos
playing tomorrow.
Vignolas. So yeah, but like, if that's happening at the French, then maybe we can start worrying about something, because, well, that would be just very weird if he would struggle against someone like that again in the second round.
The most interesting spectator at the Novak Djokovic Etcheverry match is, I believe, it's the father of Alcaraz. Is in the crowd.
Oh, no. I was thinking about someone else, because apparently Jose Mourinho was supposed to watch this match.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I mean,
he's
living in Rome at the moment.
Oh, right. I completely forgot where he was working. So.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. And Rune breaks again, actually, so for 1 up.
And Etcheverry's held, which is which is notable because it's now 3-1. He held to 30, I think. So yeah, it's just interesting how the father of Alcaraz is sat there in the crowd. Just having a quick look at the potential opponents, almost like a football coach scouting the opponents, a la Jose Mourinho.
Tennis coaches do that too, right? I mean, very often at tournaments, you see when a guy advances around, then his coach goes to watch the match of whoever he's going to play.
That makes sense.
Tennis players probably do that too sometimes.
I've seen Rublev a frequent, Novak, you lucky boy. Yeah, there's a lovely little touch at the net from him, but he nearly got punished because it just clipped the net on the way over. 15-love for Novak. Where's Holger Rune in this conversation regarding Rome and the French Open?
I think he's like in the very similar spot like Sinner, where he can go very deep, and I think if he plays Alcaraz, it's going to be close. It's going to be probably closer than expected, but he's not guaranteed to get there. While Alcaraz, you would think, is guaranteed to get to a stage where he plays Rune or Sinner. Of course, in Rome, Alcaraz is in the other half, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, that's gonna be, I guess, something to look at Roland Garros too. Where does Sinner and Rune? I mean, where do they land? Nadal as well, of course, but again, it's not really gonna be a guarantee. What sort of a seeding does Nadal have for the French? Like 15 or something?
I mean, has it already been sort of more or less decided where he'll fall?
More or less. I mean, it's going to be decided after Rome, but number 14. And in Rome, I guess he's not defending that much, right? He lost to Shapovalov last year, that match when he was like so ultra struggling with the foot.
Yeah, in Rome, yeah.
So yeah, barring something crazy from, let's say, Chorich, Paul, Musetti, these players, like barring great runs from them, he should be in the top 16 anyway. So that would actually mean that in the fourth round, he would play Alcaraz or Djokovic or Medvedev or whoever's going to be the number four seed, because this is very open to Rublev, to Tsitsipas, to Ruud, even to Rune potentially if he would win the event. So basically a 50% chance that Nadal is going to be that he is going to be on track to meet Alcaraz or Djokovic in the forefront.
Yeah, of course, we have no idea where we're at in terms of his health. I know, by the way, I'm watching on Sky, and early on this afternoon, there was a video of Rafa, which we shared as well last night. But that wasn't the interesting point. The interesting point was that Sky said, courtesy of Vanch's Twitter. So they didn't show Vanch's. Yeah, they did. Although I know that Vanch would have just shared it from someone else, unless he's jet setted over to Manacor and exactly. It himself. But they highlighted Vanch as the source. They didn't show his Twitter page, but they just said courtesy of Vanch, basically. So there we go.
I mean, that's his name, right, on Twitter, like the like you have Talking Tennis, Vanch. So I guess, but that's interesting that they didn't check where the video was from.
Yeah, because I think there was another source before that.
It's actually really like that Twitter feature, I think, is creating a lot of misunderstandings like this.
You mean in terms of tweeting videos, or
in terms of just not retweeting, not quote tweeting, but taking someone's video, and of course it said that it's from someone, but I think a lot of the time it just kind of gets lost in translation.
Absolutely.
Like here, for example, that guy that Vanch took the video from, Flavietto99, some Italian. I mean, he also got quite a lot of likes and views on it. I don't think it's his video probably either, right?
No, quite possibly. He might well have just done a screen recording or something like that. But yeah, it's. Although, what do you think about the footage itself? Because there's been a bit of a bite back.
I have not really seen it. Like I've seen people describe what's happening, but I know he stopped his practice, right?
Yeah, but I think there's also a suggestion that he then restarted it. But that's inconclusive as well. Is it just some optimistic people saying
who is he practicing with? I mean, the guy from.
It was a young kid. No, it was a young kid. I don't know, probably someone from the academy.
Because when he came in, now I can see his face, so definitely not. But when he came in, I was like, Alcaraz, and then no, it's impossible.
Yeah.
I think while I was watching, I think Fields had a break point, 1-4, so it wouldn't be anything crazy. But looking at his reaction, I don't think he made the shot.
And it's 15-love to Etcheverry at 3-2. Just having a quick look at the average serve speeds for Etcheverry. He's actually up 10k an hour compared to his round 1 victory. Yeah, so I'm just showing on the screen the footage, really. It's not sure. It's not sure, let's say, exactly. It doesn't look great, admittedly, but I have heard that it's blown out of proportion and that actually he restarted his practice and blah, blah, blah. So who knows?
Yeah, but I started thinking because a couple of days ago on one of the streams here, I remember saying that at least we know that Nadal is practicing, and like that kind of tells us that it's not all that bad. But yeah, maybe this actually puts a different light.
It does. There is another thing to add, which is I'm led to believe that he hasn't played a practice point with his serve since Australia. Apparently, because when I got told that, I was like, oh, okay. But the serve would suggest another part of the body. And they said, no, it's still the hip, that he has problems sliding on the backhand side, which is why you see most of the footage of him over the last couple of months on the forehand side. And when he is sliding, he's sliding on the forehand side, sorry. He is hitting backhands, no doubt about it, but he's not sliding on the backhand because it's discomfort or uncomfortable. Well, there's Jose Mourinho. And the final thing is, like I say, practice points on serve. I'm led to believe he's not played one since Australia.
Okay. I mean, he has been practicing.
He's been
serve,
practicing,
right?
and I've seen
Like,
still shots of him serving, albeit with no time date. But even if you said it was some point in the last couple of months, again, who knows? There's probably information and misinformation on top of everything.
There's
But
Mourinho on my screen as well.
I just saw him. Yeah. So he looks as grumpy as ever. When did they play last night, Roma? Actually, in a Europa League match, I think they probably did. Maybe in Germany.
He didn't look too invested. Yeah, Leverkusen, but actually he in Rome.
In Rome. Okay, yeah, they won 1-0. Yeah,
that's the first leg of the semifinals.
Yeah, so they'll be in Germany shortly next week.
Yeah, first day, and then in 2 days' time, they're playing a league match.
I thought you were going to say they're going to be playing Lazio, which would be a mega weekend for Rome.
Not Lazio, but Bologna. I guess that's not that. Well, it is kind of far. Stefan Edberg is on that match as well. Djokovic
is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just showed them on my screen.
From memory, I mean, I am just going off the fact that he never won the French. Clay was Edberg's sort of Achilles heel, as it would be for a lot of serve volleys, with the exception.
Exactly. Like you don't really like it's pretty obvious with the style, right? I think he had that one big chance when Chang beat him, right?
Okay, Chang beat him in the final, did he?
I think so. I think he beat Lendl in the fourth round and then Edberg in the final. But I could be wrong. Like it could be the other way around.
Another Chang stat, which perhaps is the most notable of all, I think he may be the only teenage winner of a slam who's who's not a multiple winner of a slam, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he's only won one Grand Slam and he won it as a teenager.
Could be, yeah. Very possible. Was he in a final like a bit later? I think he was, right? But he definitely did not win.
Not Wimbledon, I don't think.
Yeah, I think like the Australian Open, maybe, or something like that. Yeah, Australian Open, that one when he lost to Becker, and US Open as well, 96. Okay. And Edberg was in the Roland Garros final in 89, so led 2 sets to 1. So that was definitely his shot at getting one title there.
He's only 51, so there's still time, Michael, to come back and get my stat out of the way. So he's just won. Yeah, he just won one, and that was in 1989. Yeah, which was as a teenager. But I think everybody else who wins as a teenager pretty much is a multiple slam winner. Obviously, Rafa falls into that category on the ATP side anyway. Rafa is in that category. Carlos is now in that category, and we would expect him to be imagine Carlos just winning one Grand Slam. Well, it would have to be an injury situation if that was to happen.
I think so.
Oh, Etcheverry's just dumped not the easiest of forehands in terms of really low bounce into the net, so deuce. But this is where the match could turn. I forget who it was Djokovic played in the first round or the second round, as it would have been in Monte Carlo, and he had similar issues against a French opponent. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, Gakov.
Not a French opponent.
Yeah, not a French one. Yeah. But he had similar issues. But it was just one of those like. As soon as Djokovic got it back on serve, because I think he was a breakdown in the opening set there as well. As soon as he got it back on, I think so. Yeah,
I just thought they went to a tiebreak, but
he was breakdown on. Yeah, I think it was like 5-3 maybe or 4-2, something like that.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, wow. So, but as soon as he got the break back, you're like, okay, go into a tie break, but Novak's favorite for obvious reasons anyway, but also because of the fact that the momentum. And then you just thought, you know what, he's going to get an early break. He didn't get super early break in the second set. I think he got to about 2-2, which was hats off to Gakov, who managed to sort of get himself into the match again after that demoralizing scenario. But eventually, I think Novak won the second set 6-2, maybe.
Yeah, 6-2. I checked, and indeed breaks were traded, although it was very brief. It was just Gakov breaking, get 3-all, and then Novak breaking back instantly. But yeah, indeed there was an exchange there. Fils is now 1-5 down, even though there was a very long game on the Rune serve. So probably the set is gone, but maybe he at least takes some confidence from coming so close to breaking Rune there.
And a lengthy rally results in Etcheverry putting a backhand into the net. Again, a pretty low bounce, making it quite a difficult shot for Etcheverry. I saw Igor, of course, winning 6-love today. I had a bit of sympathy for Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova, who is 29 years old, but because of this absence of most of about a year anyway, it feels like she was off the tour. And even when she was on the tour at stages last year, there was large gaps between. It feels like about 18 months without her at the top of her game. And yeah, I felt a bit sorry for her.
I mean, 31, even.
Oh, she's 31,
that felt
okay.
wrong. But honestly, for me, it just feels like she must be 40 because
Yeah,
she's
she
been.
feels like she's older, exactly.
Yeah, she's been around forever, and I guess that just comes from the fact, how good she was in the juniors. I think she was like winning junior slams at like 14 or 15. So, yeah, became the junior world number 1 when she was 14. So that's why she feels like she's been around forever.
Jim Courier was 6-4 all time against Edberg, which is pretty good. But of course, Jim was much handier on the clay. I'm just trying to think of Jim's. I'm calling him Jim as though I know him. Oh, break point for Djokovic here, by the way. I'll just focus on this before we head back for Courier. It's a good first serve, but Novak, as is his wont, gets it back in with some depth as well. Forehand Etcheverry goes quite big again. Should put him in charge of the point, but of course it's against Novak Djokovic, so it doesn't. Has he gone wide? I think he has, and it's a break of serve. Yes, it's a break of serve, so we're back on serve 3 games all. Jim Courier, yeah, he was very handy on the clay. I'm going to say that he won 4 Grand Slams, but that's just a complete guess, actually.
Yeah. 2 at the French, 2 in Australia. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and I was then going to say a couple of French and a couple of hardcore.
They were all in like the span of 3 years or something like this. So
he, of course,
really a long.
I think he got to a Wimbledon final. Yes, he did. He got to 2, but he probably ran into Sampras, I would guess.
Yeah.
92. No, wait, hang on a second. 93. So it was just 1 Wimbledon final. But yeah, I would guess he ran into Sampras. That might be Sampras's first, even, because I know that Agassi won it in 92. Michael Stich won it in 91.
Yeah, it has to be, I think. It has to be his first, right?
It's funny, this is all off memory. I can go 84 would be Borg, I guess, beating McEnroe beating Borg, I guess. That's one of the classic finals.
Which one you mean?
Pardon?
84? By 84, Borg was long retired.
Okay. So I've got that wrong. I should
might
skip
be,
to 85.
Might be McEnroe with Connors or something like this. But
okay. I mean, actually, I'm just going off the top of my head, so I'm probably what year was is it 82 that they had their classic final?
80.
80. Okay.
Yeah.
So 85 is Becker, 86 Becker, 87 Pat Cash, 88 Edberg, 89 Becker, 90 Edberg, and 91 Michael Stich. That was a real shock for me. Michael Stich beating Becker in that final in 91. I was a Becker fan, so that stuck in the memory. And then Agassi, 92, beating Ivan Isavic. Ivan Isavic at the beginning of his sort of 10, 11 years love affair, I would say, with Wimbledon. But of course, it was tinged with sadness because he kept losing it at crucial moments. But then he got lucky in the fact that he played Tim Henman in a semi-final. And Henman would always lose in the semi-final in 2003 when he had a wild card, I think.
2001.
2001, yeah, had a wild card that year. Did I say 2003?
Yeah.
Okay, I often get 2001, 2003.
Yeah, he had a wild card. He was at 125 back then in the rankings. That's like the second lowest ranked winner, I think, of a slam.
The final between a lovely little volley there from Novak at the net, so it's 40 love. The final between Ivan Isavic and the Australian guy.
Pat Rafter.
Sorry?
Pat Rafter.
Pat Rafter, yeah, exactly. Was a very dramatic affair, nowhere near the best tennis match you'll ever watch in your life, but it was on a Monday, so actually the crowd was sort of up for it and were much more vociferous than normal. It was more like New York than Wimbledon because all the hoity-toity toffs are back at work, because I think it had pretty much been rained off on the entire match on the Sunday. And not only that, the 5th set was just a bag of nerves from both players. There were double faults galore. There were wobbly legs, I think, from Goran as he was trying to serve it out. It's a dramatic match anyway. And of course, both of those players were sort of bridesmaids, although at least Pat did get 1 Grand Slam at the US, I believe. So, but for Ivan Isavic, it was now or never. And I'm just looking at him on my screen right now. So do you think I think we touched on this before, the coaching scenario with him and Goran, the Novak and these players, they need someone with that kind of pedigree as their coach so they can at least listen to them, if that makes sense. I mean, if I was the best coach in the world, but I'd never been there, would that give me less gravitas?
Okay, that's what you mean. Technically, I don't think they need it. But if you're the best in the world, if you have basically unlimited resources, why wouldn't you get a guy like that?
Juan Carlos Ferrero gets a lot of praise for his involvement with Carlos Alcaraz. Is it justified, or are we getting a bit carried away?
Who knows? But at least from the PR that we're getting, at least from what we learn from the outside, it does look like it. I mean, they definitely have like a maybe more father-son relationship than than anything else, and he has believed in him from an early stage, and looks like one of these partnerships that will probably never really fall apart.
Of course, he was a coach for Alexander Zverev, wasn't he? But that didn't work
for
out.
a while.
And I think Juan Carlos has been a little critical, maybe, of Zverev's attitude.
Basically, everyone who has worked with Zverev has been critical about his attitude, right? I mean, outside of his father, of course. But that's really true. Like, the guy, is always late for practices.
Okay.
It's not really something that I'm saying, just because there's this huge trend in, I don't know, on Twitter or something to crap on Alexander Zverev. But yeah, that's true. I mean, he says it himself. He is definitely a little bit. Well, he doesn't maybe put all the effort that he could. He is late for stuff. He puts himself in there in every single thing. I'm referencing all these tennis TV videos where he basically claims that he's the best at everything.
Yeah.
Well,
Becca
he kind of backs it up. So.
I mean, we had a chat about Becker and Edberg and various others. Well, Becker's actually laid in on Zverev a bit. Not laid in, that's the wrong word. He's actually made a comment, let's say anyway. Just that the focus is no longer on the big three. Sasha is being overtaken by the younger players. We've talked about Alcaraz, but I also mentioned Sinner, Rune and Fritz. He has to look at why the new generation of players is so good and what they do better and what's different. I think that even Zverev himself and Tsitsipas in their various speeches over the last 12 months, runners-up speeches to it was Zverev's winning speech over Alcaraz last year that was like, yeah, that's right. Because he said basically, Carlos, you're coming past, but you might just have to wait another day, if you like, or another moment, because of course Zverev beat him in that quarterfinal. Was that a shock that he lost that French Open quarterfinal, Carlos? It was to me a little bit. I had Carlos to win it anyway because they won in Madrid.
Yeah, I guess if you just factor in the fact that in Madrid he lost 4 games to Zverev, then maybe. In general, given his overall lack of experience, given that he struggled with Ramos Vignolas, would often struggle with players who just defend very well, make him play a lot of balls. Maybe not so much, but as we talked about a lot of times, I mean, this was also one of the strongest version of Zverev's we've seen. So,
although I don't have it on my screen, Elena, she's highlighting the fact that the Bublik Shelton match is just madness. I was going to use the word balmy. I don't know if anyone knows that word. It means crazy. It means mad, but it doesn't surprise me. I was actually, for once, I think I made a good decision. I chose the Rune Bublik match in Madrid, and that lived up to all the expectations I had. It was an excellent match. Went to a third set tiebreak, and the third set tiebreak was just Bublik is just so chilled. He's pulling off the crazy shots, but he's winning. He's really upsetting Rune's rhythm by sometimes being about 2 meters inside the baseline for some of Rune's serves. It was just classic Bublik, but it was working, and he pulled off facing match point. He pulled off the most sensational volleys, and then just sort of turned around and looked at the crowd like, "Oh, did I just?" And I think he even touched his face like this. Did I just do that? Just classic Bublik, and apparently he could be doing similar things today in this match with Ben Shelton. But you saw Ben Shelton up close on the clay last week in Cagliari, right?
Yeah, absolutely. 3 matches. Talked to him in the gym, which was a bit of it was a tough one to get because he kept playing night matches. But I was like, I know he's playing a night match, but tomorrow he's also gonna play a night match. I did.
Can you share some of the discussion in the gym?
it was funny because just literally next to us, Maroshan was doing some stretching, and it was after their match, so I had to skip a few questions that I didn't
Okay,
really
yeah.
feel comfortable asking in this scenario. No, I just just talked a bit about what he had to do on clay in order to make his game more adaptable. Which honestly, the answer was like probably not much. We also talked about like his experiences in Europe outside of the tennis, because of course before
Oh,
Australia
yeah.
he hadn't even left the United States.
Esteril, he said, was
Also,
his favorite place in Europe, at
mhm,
least when he
yeah,
arrived, but that was the first one.
yeah, he said, I remember, and like also talked about like whether these guys like Maroshan, Zapieri, are they completely unknown to him in terms of how they play? Which the answer was of course yes, since less than 12 months ago, Sheldon was still playing college. He never had any big junior runs. I mean, he only played some junior events in the States. So also, these guys like Maroshan, Zapieri, who grew up on clay in Italy, in Europe, I wanted to say, but Zapieri, of course, mostly in Italy, Maroshan, I guess, all over the place in Europe. He basically, hasn't really seen or them in any capacity. Just he hasn't even watched them play until like a day before their match, probably, when he checks out some replays. So yeah, it
Hmm.
was fun. I knew that of course Shelton is not gonna play that many challengers in the future, so kind of have to get him on the pod now. And in terms of what, in terms and that's actually a thing I do with plenty of youngsters. That was also my strategy with Shelton a couple of years. Sorry, Shelton with Rune a couple of years ago in Szczecin, where I knew that this guy is not gonna be playing challengers for much longer, so I kind of have to talk to him. And yeah, in terms of just strictly watching, very enjoyable for me at least is the energy that Shelton has on the court. Some people it rubs the wrong way, definitely,
Okay.
but I think especially live, it's just really entertaining. And yeah, there's no reason why he couldn't be a pretty successful clay courter in the future.
There was a
I don't
question
know
from
if
Elena about his movement. What's your thoughts on that?
really good. I mean, even on hard courts, he was a very good mover, right? And on clay as well, I think his rally tolerance and like his speed, the athleticism. I think these people kind of tend to forget about them. Just remembering about the serve and the huge forehand. There were moments in this run where he was really able to keep the ball in play very easily, and yeah, really no reason why he can't be solid on clay in the future. I don't know if solid means win ATP titles or something like this. It might be a bit much, but maybe he's not going to be as good as Taylor Fritz or something. But he definitely can be like competitive, and this season playing a full clay schedule should only help him do that. I don't know if he beats Bublik. That's kind of important for your for your prediction, right?
Yeah. Oh, in terms of him having a win-loss record. Yeah.
Yeah.
If we include the challenges, I think you said to me he's 4-5. Is that right? If you include the challenges.
Well, I think he is. Yeah, I think he was 4-5 if you include Cagliari. So without Cagliari, it would be 2-4. So it's gonna be tough.
Yeah. Anyway, Rune's won that first set 6-3. But yes, it does seem like a lot of drama, at least in terms of the scoreboard, is Shelton and Bublik. Bublik, of course, having to stem the tide there a little bit, having lost that second set 6-1. Talking of stemming the tide, I think it was a really important hold from Etcheverry that ended with a Novak forehand into the net. But of course, having just been broken, you can easily get broken again, and then the set slips away. But where's Etcheverry in the rankings actually right now? Do we know off the top of our heads? He's outside the top 100.
60-ish?
Oh, is he?
No.
Okay. Okay.
70-ish, 60-ish? Definitely not. Yeah, live rankings, he's 57th right now.
Okay.
So yeah.
Currently 61, but live rankings, of course, as you said, meaning he'll creep up a little bit, and he'll creep up even more if he wins today.
Oh yeah.
But that's a long way away. It's 15 all, 4 games all.
It's funny that Garin is still outside the top 100 in the live rankings, but of course he had a disastrous second half of the year, so that's
I was
gonna
checking
even
out.
out.
I was checking out Schwartzman's ranking yesterday.
Mhm.
It's quite horrendous in terms of just the stone dropping scenario that he's had over the last. I mean, I'd even say 12 months. I mean, he played Novak at the French Open in the third round, but of course, I am also thinking about the end of 2020. When did he make the ATP Tour Finals in 2020? If he didn't, he would have been very close. I mean, he got
Diego Schwartzman, maybe
Yeah.
he played like as an alternate. I think he did, right?
Okay.
He definitely played in the ATP finals.
Was that the last one in London? I think it was. That's a lovely
Not
little
even
round.
as an alternate, but I guess that would be because Nadal played. Who
Nadal played, yeah.
is there someone who withdrew here? I guess there must have been someone.
Yeah.
Or
not
maybe
sure.
he was simply number 8 at the end of the year.
He might
But
have
anyway,
been.
yeah, he played and didn't win a single match. Yeah,
Yeah.
but he also had an insane group: Medvedev, Zverev, Djokovic.
Yeah, and in fact, I'm just trying to think who Novak came out of that group. I think.
And Medvedev, because he won the whole thing.
Okay,
That
he
was
won it
that
that year.
crazy win streak where Medvedev won 3 tournaments in a row and like beat, I don't know, a
Top 10
billion of
player.
top
He
10
beat Nadal in the
players. Yeah,
semi-final for sure. And
he beat like
Dominic
he beat like 1,000 top 10 players in a row there. And I think he played also Schwartzman earlier than this in Paris. Maybe played Zverev 3 consecutive events as well, something like that.
He was a set and a break. In fact, no, Rafa was serving for it at one set and I think 5-4, but he got broken to love, and then the momentum swung, and Daniel ended up winning that match. That was his. I remember him sort of walking off. I was going to say waving to the crowd, but there was no crowd because it was deep in COVID territory. But I do remember seeing Rafa slump off the court, if you like, dejected after that defeat, and I thought, I think that might be it, in terms of him having a chance of ever winning the ATP Tour Finals.
Oh, and Garin is playing Jere in the third round, by the way. So that's a wonderful opportunity.
Yeah.
And then Ruud, Rinderknech, Public, or Shelton. Honestly, Garin might be making Garin might be making the quarters here.
This is probably the standout result from the Italian Open so far. Kenin winning in straight sets against Sabalenka. I had Sabalenka getting to my final. I mean, I know that the conditions in Rome are very
that's kind of short-sighted, but also it's easy to say that
her,
after the fact,
half
right?
of the draw, I think, is slightly lighter. I don't think she has to go. Krejcikova is in the same half for sure as Iga.
Okay, in the other half.
Yes. So Sabalenka's on one half, and then I think in the other half you've got Krejcikova, you've got Iga. I think you've got Anjabeur, although she's gone out now as well. But basically, one half of the draw is tilted, let's say, in against Iga. It's 5 games to 4, by the way, with Novak. But yeah, maybe I went a bit too heavy on Sabalenka.
But actually, now that I'm looking at the bottom half, there's really not that many contenders in there. So.
No, what's her name? Rybakina's in the top half as well, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Rybakina in Rome is also not a contender to me.
No,
I was talking about it yesterday, actually, on the stream. I don't know if you were there at that point in time, but that on slower clay, there's basically no competition right now on the WTA Tour. Like Świątek, Krejcikova, and that's it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that if there were some opponents like, I don't know, Halep, of course, in her prime was amazing. If she was there, then Świątek wouldn't be winning most of these events. I think she still would have been. But like, there's no second tier, basically. There's Świątek, then there's no one, and then there's someone. There's this huge gap, which in the past, I guess it wasn't maybe even that huge between most players. But probably you could even make the argument that this has been going on for a very long time. Yesterday I talked about like 5 years only, with 2021 when Świątek lost to Sakari, you have a wild final already. Of course, Krejcikova maybe in hindsight wasn't really that wild, but still, Pavlyuchenkova in the final, Zidansek in the semis. Last year you had some absolute randomness as well, of course, barring outside of Świątek. 2019 you have Barty Vondroušová in the final. Konta, who was also not that great on clay in the semis, I suppose. Barty winning at her on her least favorite surface. But I think even if you go like a long way backwards, there were some moments when the tour was still really weak on clay. Sharapova, at the beginning of her career, did not know how to play on clay at all, and then she wins a couple of French Opens. Is that because she improved so much, or is that because the competition was also weaker? I don't know. But certainly for like the past at least 5 years, outside of Świątek and Halep at some points. There's just very, very few players who are threatening to win titles on slow clay. I'm not mentioning someone like Coco Gauff because she hasn't actually threatened to win these titles. She goes deep, but Madrid, Stuttgart, of course, are completely different. There are many players over the years who have done well there, like, I don't know, Sabalenka, Pliskova was always amazing in Stuttgart. I don't know, Kerber was good in Stuttgart as well. Madrid, you had like Bertens. Bertens, I guess, was good anywhere on clay, but Madrid, you also had Kvitova doing very well most of the time. So I think it's just a problem on the slower clay courts, like in Rome and Paris.
I thought there was a problem with the website not updating because Bublik was 2-1 against Shelton in the third set for what felt like a long time. But it must have just been a very, very, very long game with maybe lots of advantages because it now is 2 games all. But yes, it did seem to be dragging on. So maybe some people are watching that and can talk to us about the epicness of that 4th game of the deciding set. Novak is receiving here at the moment. He is 15 all, 4-5 Etcheverry is serving. So Etcheverry needs to hold, and he's just put a forehand wide, and so it's 15-30. Novak is 2 points away from winning the first set. He is wearing his sleeve today. I know he's sort of worn it and then taken it off in terms of the elbow. Is there any cause for concern regarding Novak and the elbow?
Who knows? I mean, I guess we'd have to check like the serve speeds, but especially I think in Monte Carlo you could kind of see how, just visually how it impacts his serve and forehand. I don't think it's that poor right now. And yeah, we don't really know if the sleeve is preventive or not. Someone in the chat just now, I think it was Elena, maybe, just also mentioned Justina Neon was very good in clay. Yeah, she was definitely one of the players who made the landscape of clay tennis on the women's side a lot different in 2000, like the early 2000s, even late 2000s, right? I mean, for a while she was compared with Nadal and how they were dominating Roland Garros, of course. With years, it's now incomparable, but there was a moment when they were actually having a similar period of dominance over that one event.
Novak has just brought up his first set point with an excellent winner down the line. However, Etcheverry has saved one of 2 set points because with an unreturnable serve. But he's got another one to save here at 30-40. The rally that set up the first break point was pretty cool, actually, including an excellent lob from Novak that Etcheverry managed to get his racket on and almost turned it into a decent smash. Oh, an excellent first serve again there from Etcheverry, meaning it's deuce. So he saved those 2 set points. Stir fry with noodles. Yes, it's coming up to dinner time here in Bonn. So I'm getting a bit peckish. But I fell asleep about 5:30, and it was like, you know what, I won't set an alarm. And then next thing I know, it's 7:13, and I thought, Novak should have started by now, so I should probably get the stream started. I'm sure the millions of listeners and viewers were like going, "Where is he? Where is he? What's going on?"
Possibly, yes, absolutely. I wasn't maybe that desperate, but I did actually check out the stream, whether you're live to see if I can come in. But otherwise,
seeing
there
your
were a
name
few
pop
people
up,
waiting.
seeing your name pop up in the live chat was certainly different. It might have been there before, Damien, but I don't recall it.
Very infrequently, yeah. Maybe just when I responded to someone's comment from my account or something. I doubt I ever commented on the live stream that I wasn't part of.
Etcheverry wins the point, and he's won the game as a result, 5 games all. There was a drop shot there, and in fact, the camera went for a very interesting angle on that one. It was quite nice, actually, for a different angle, quite low down.
That's how the line umpire watches the match.
There you go. Yes, exactly. It was exactly that level. Yeah.
Drop shot. I'm watching both, so I'm seeing the angle that you were mentioning. So it was a bit easier for me to land the right metaphor there.
Thank you. Yeah. 5 games all. And Shelton is 2-3 at the moment in that epic match over on court 1. Yeah, Novak had 2 set points. Probably disappointed at being the best return of all time that he couldn't do more on, although they were 2 good first serves from Etcheverry.
Yeah,
What do
I
we think
remember.
about what do we think about the attendance? It's been a big talking point, but I think it's pretty much ticket price related, I would imagine.
Yeah, when you have like some insane ticket prices, right? And especially on the main courts, you can see it because I guess people just buy like a grounds pass. Is there something like that? I
Probably, yeah.
suppose. Yeah, and they just watch other matches then. I don't know. Definitely some of the pricing, even in Cagliari, was absurd. And people were actually still there, so that's how much the Italians love tennis. But if it wasn't for a friend of mine, which actually I think you messaged him, right? So you know who it was. If it
Yeah,
wasn't for a friend of mine being there and like not on a credential, but actually buying tickets for himself, I wouldn't even have known that the night session was sold like that you had to actually buy another ticket for 50 euros
wow.
on these days. 50 euros for watching one match, which was Shelton against someone usually, and then doubles after that. But frankly, not many people stayed for the doubles because two of these matches finished at 1:30 or in the morning or something like that. I never stayed either because I didn't even have a bus that late. So yeah, that was quite wild. And just if you imagine this, spending 100 euros on the whole day at a challenger,
That's what he said, yeah.
one of the best challengers in the world for sure, but still, I would never really do that. But I don't know. I haven't really paid for any tennis tickets in a while, so it's kind of maybe hard for me to estimate like how much I would be willing to pay. But yeah, 100 euros for a day at a challenger, it just seems extremely stupid. And
Yeah.
still, the people were there actually. Like maybe not full, but
Maybe Cagliari has a very elite group of wealthy people. I mean, it's in Sardinia, right?
could be. Yeah, the biggest, the capital of Sardinia. If
Yeah.
if they also have
Yeah, it is.
something like capital of
They
the
do, yeah.
region, I guess, or the island. I don't know.
And Novak is held for 6-5. Yeah, regarding Rome as well, in terms of the prices, I'm going on Wednesday of next week because I'd made a promise to a friend, and so I'm going to go to Italy for a few days anyway. And it's the cheapest ticket, albeit we're talking about the quarterfinals here, the cheapest ticket with 116 euros for a daytime centre court ticket, which is for me it's a lot. I was before I even clicked, I was thinking, well, it could be 50 euro. I mean, the US Open, by the way, is pretty cheap. I think I got the women's final for about 100, something like that, $100. Sorry, so that'd be a bit more in or a bit less. Sorry, in
Yeah, a
euros.
bit less than the
85, yeah.
one than the price you mentioned. Yeah.
Is Novak okay? He's just sort of crouching down. Anyway, okay. So yeah, but I also picked up other tickets for like maybe $40 or $50 for
That looks like he's grabbing his abdomen or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah. But he's sitting down now, looking reasonably relaxed. But we'll see
Yeah.
how that pans out. But
Mhm,
yes,
yeah.
New York, much better value for sure.
Rune had a couple of breakpoints already in the second set, but just a couple of very clean forehands from Fails to save them. Although one of them was basically on the line, so I don't know how well how controlled it was that went in, but so far he has survived and has a game point of his own. Definitely feels like this match has been a little closer than the scoreline would suggest, but we'll see if the Frenchman manages to show it. I also remember rambling, well, maybe not rambling, but praising what Fields has done with his backhand yesterday on the stream. And today it's kind of been leaking errors. It's not been as solid as I was trying to paint it as yesterday, but maybe that changes in the rest of the match. Still deuce actually in that 1-2 game, so the trouble hasn't been fended off yet completely.
I thought of you a few days ago as I had a very optimistic Andy Murray fan on the stream, and I was positing various optimistic scenarios, and these scenarios included him winning a few matches in Rome and in Paris. and making the second week of Wimbledon, which I'm sure will have you thinking of words like delirious.
Second week of Wimbledon, maybe. Like, it's not impossible. I guess
Queen's
we were
title,
all.
I think, was another one. I just said, what's the absolute extreme optimism? And I think Queen's title was also mentioned in there.
Yeah, maybe that could be like very optimistic, but second week of Wimbledon with the right draw, it's not impossible. Yeah, just I remember seeing, I don't know if it was you, maybe it was someone else, someone tweeting that if Murray wins a few matches in Rome, he can get to he can get a seeding at the French.
I don't think I might have retweeted it, but I think I retweeted something about him playing these clay courts matches to try and get some points ahead of Wimbledon.
Yeah, I don't remember, but who it was. But I remember seeing that like someone thought realistically that after winning Aix-en-Provence, he can, I don't know, reach the fourth round or the quarters at Rome, and that seemed very unrealistic. Now Novak is stretching his legs.
He is. It looks like it's going to be 6 games all as well. The leg stretching thing though is something I've seen from him in the past, so we'll keep an eye on it. Always doing a bit more, yeah. But anyway, 6 games. Sorry, 6 games for 5. 40 love. Novak not laying a glove on the Etcheverry serve here at the moment. Oh, so he's going to go to Bordeaux, is he? This is probably another challenger, I guess.
Yeah. He's signed up for Bordeaux. So I suppose he will play it, given that he lost so early. But who knows? He has actually gotten quite a lot of clay practice this clay season. That's something. I mean, wow. That was some nerves from Fields there. He just got lobbed and then proceeded to. I don't even know how to call this shot. Like it looked like basically until the last moment he was thinking of a tweener, then decided against it, and then played. I don't even know.
Is it a turnaround forehand or something like that?
Yeah, he turned around, but it wasn't even like a regular forehand. It was just abysmal, and he is breakpoint down again. But the return is not going to be in from Rune, so again he saves himself for now.
What a slightly off-color Novak provides is more entertaining matches early on, because it's now 6 games all, and we've seen a couple of good rallies as well. Etcheverry did really well to chase that drop shot down and not only get a racket on it, but actually do okay with it. Novak will think that maybe he still should have won the point from there, but in the end it was a smash. So yeah, Novak not being at 100% does make his early rounds a little bit more entertaining for observers. It's going to a tiebreak. Yeah. Who's third favorite for the French Open? Assuming that we've got Novak and Rafa is in a category all on his own, in that we just asterisked, have no clue.
I have an idea. I don't know if it's bold or not.
Go on. Let's hear the bold view.
I don't know if it's bold. I actually think it could be boring, maybe, but I would say Rune, I think.
Okay. Yeah, Rune is one of 2 players in mind, and I guess in getting to the quarterfinals, he's probably gone further than Sinner's ever got. Or did Sinner get to the quarters in 2020?
Sinner got to the quarters in 2020, but of course it's very different, with Rune doing it last year, and like he hasn't really had that much time at the top yet. I don't know if that actually plays into his hands or not, if it's an advantage or not. But he has just broken Fields as well. The young Frenchman was at the net and did not really handle that too well. And eventually one of the passes that Rune was just hitting at him was too much for him to control. I'm gonna check what's what the bookies think about this, because I'm kind of interested now.
Do they have Rafa at third? Maybe?
Yeah, I would assume that they would have Rafa at third. That's what I will assume, but maybe it's not the case. But even then, like, who's fourth? Because it's not abundantly clear. Oh, I guess we were kind of forgetting about this one guy. But I would still put Rune above him, I think.
Who's that? Zverev or
Tsitsipas?
Of course, we are forgetting about him.
I would still have Rune above him, I think.
Didn't he
Sinner
beat him at the
is
French last year, Rune?
yeah, he did, he did, he
And he's
did.
better
Like
now, I
for
would say, Rune. He's certainly had
um
more remarkable results since then.
yeah. And indeed, as we thought, Nadal is the third favorite, then Tsitsipas, and then Sinner, Rune are kind of close. Some bookies have them at the same. Some bookies have Sinner first. Some bookies have Rune first. So I guess it's not clear who's fifth for the bookies if it's Sinner or Rune. Basically the same odds. And then there's a huge gap between that and Zverev, Medvedev, Rublev. Last year I would say that there's a fantastic price on Casper Ruud on some of the bookies I'm seeing here, but yeah, not anymore.
What's he about 10th?
Yeah, behind Rublev, Medvedev, Zverev. Although there are some bookies who even place them above them all. So like it's not clear, but generally he is. I guess like if because I have this site here which shows me like 20 different prices, so it's hard to compare. But yeah, I would say generally he is among that group of Rublev, Medvedev, Zverev. Some have him as the best one out of these. Dominic Thiem is surprisingly low for these. Like for example, if I'm from looking at the price on Taylor Fritz and Dominic Thiem, and Fritz is the one who's priced worse. That's insane.
Okay,
I
so they're saying that Fritz has less chance of
Yeah,
winning the French Open
yeah,
than Dominic Thiem.
yeah,
Yeah, but
exactly.
they will be possibly, Damien, reacting to money as well. So if you go
Yeah,
into the
yeah,
bookmakers,
yeah. I
you've
know
got
it doesn't have
yeah.
to be the starting price, but I don't think it would shift that much. Like I don't think that many people would be betting Dominic Thiem to win the French right now.
I don't know. Maybe there's some crazy, passionate Austrian out there who just wants to see a renaissance. Etcheverry had a 3-0 lead. It's now been cut to 3-2 after Novak held his serve. So he's got a mini break advantage just ahead of the changeover at 3-2. Novak's still looking a bit ginger, so maybe this is Thomas's time to shine. Yeah, for me, that group, ignoring Rafa and also Carlos and Novak, but for very different reasons, that group of Sinner, Tsitsipas, and Rune, you could put them in any order, and that would make sense in a way.
Yeah, I guess they are more or less the same for me as well.
Just depends on the day and what's happened. I mean, if Tsitsipas gets to the final in Rome and Sinner and Holger don't, or if Holger wins Rome, then suddenly he's sort of maybe ahead of them, the three. But they're all fairly much of a muchness. By the way, Novak has just got that mini break back, so it's 3 points all.
Yeah, I think Rune, Sinner, Tsitsipas, it's like a preference choice, not necessarily preference in terms of like who you want to win, but yeah, just this subjective manner of judging who is actually better, who has the best chance. For me, it would be Rune, but I'm not gonna say it's based on science or there are any logical arguments behind it. I just think he has the best chance, but that's just eye test and like nothing else really. So yeah.
By the way, I know Mario
definitely,
has been in and out of the tournament. I think he was there maybe yesterday. He might be there again today, actually. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Someone in the chat, I think maybe Ghosty, asked about it, but I haven't really seen any tweets from him today. I also haven't been really reading Twitter that much, so it might be a me problem rather than a Mario problem. But
but I think he was there a couple of days ago. Or
yeah, he definitely was. I saw selfie with Barbora Krejcikova, so one of your favorites, it seems.
Yeah. I do keep tipping her to do well, and then she often doesn't, and then I sort of ignore her for one tournament. She goes and wins it.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to.
Oh, nice one, Thomas. Yeah, it was a good rally as well, and including a classic Novak Djokovic smash that sort of went down the center of the court, and Etcheverry got a nice forehand on that smash. I like clay smashes because it's like, yeah, this could well be returned with interest as it was there, and he still did. He's really fast chasing down some of these balls that for me, I'm thinking no way you're going to get that. Not only does he get it, but he wins the point.
Yeah, I mean, he's like a physical monster, right? He can play 4 hours, 5 hours, and nothing really gets to him. And at the same time, of course, you have the speed and the huge forehand. Definitely a guy who should be staying around the main tour. I'm glad that he's finally making that jump this year. because even last year it felt like he was, just kind of stuck and not really doing that much at the ATP Tour. Fields is down a break in that second set, as I mentioned earlier, but he had a break point, just missed the forehand. I'm not really a fan of these conditions for him. I guess this is already a bit of a win for the 18-year-old, to get to the second round from the qualies. He beat Cerundolo, he beat, of course, I'm forgetting now, Shevchenko in the final qualifying round. So definitely a good run, especially as it easily could have ended in the opener in the qualies against Ryan Pennystone. I still think there are definitely some other courts that he's going to do better at, but I guess after the injury, he hasn't really had a run like this. So
Bublik has won.
Yeah,
against Ben Shelton.
You are in deep trouble, John.
I'm trouble, am I? I don't know. I can't. I'm just having a look at the.
You are in deep trouble, yeah, with your Shelton prediction.
Oh, I see that prediction. Yeah. Okay.
He is not actually signed up for Bordeaux or Turin. I don't know if he can change his plans. Given how this week went, he is signed up for Lyon or Geneva, though I can't remember for which one, but one of them.
Etcheverry eked out a 5-3, so therefore advantage, but it's now gone back to 5-4. But Etcheverry does have 2 serves to win the first set.
Yeah, Fields and Rune have not really delivered so far, so it's possible that I will be checking out Djokovic Etcheverry with you in a second.
Sure.
Well, I am watching both, but just switching to that primarily. I think Rune, if he wins, he can play Fognini in the third round, which really will be quite exciting. Maybe in terms of the tennis, definitely in terms of the drama.
Yeah, Fognini. Well, we've got Rune as well. I mean, they're just. The only thing is, Fognini's been doing it for over a decade now, more. So they're exchanging forehands at the moment, although now Novak mixes it up. Novak now on the forehand still. The backhand of Etcheverry goes deep. But that's a good shot there from Novak, meaning it's 5 points all. Yes, that would be entertaining and fireworks. I was watching him today, and he was getting annoyed with the umpire, and he said something about the umpire's sister, but I don't know what it was exactly. It was just very bizarre. But Fognini is bizarre in some respects, and he almost hit a ball boy as well at one point.
Maybe the umpire was James Kioravong, or no, because that would make sense, because then Fognini probably knows his sister. But
okay. No, I don't remember who the umpire was, actually. But he certainly made the umpire get out of the chair a few more times than I'm sure the umpire would have liked. That's a good return from Novak, and he should win this point as well, and he does. So now, from being 5-3 down, Novak has won 3 points in a row. He now has a set point on his serve. He also almost hit a ball boy. Of course, it was completely accidental. He just didn't see where the ball boy was, but he was being a bit careless with a racket swing, I think it was. But there we go. Fabio bringing it again. And I was surprised at his level in particular today against Kecmanovic. I was like, okay, it's almost like he could just switch things on from time to time. When he switches it on, he's very, 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 very good. But he doesn't always switch the tap on, let's say.
Max, I'm pretty sure Fields is not going to play French Open qualies. I mean, he has to get a wild card. It's just impossible.
Novak's won the first set. Novak's won the first set, 7-6. A backhand into the net.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. A backhand into the net from the Argentinian means that is the end of that set. And you just think now that might have been. Do we call him Martin or do we call him Thomas? I think I called him Thomas earlier, but maybe
Tome. I think they often call him Tome.
Okay, sort of mix the
probably
two.
just short for Thomas, I suppose.
Okay,
I think it's just short for Thomas, but I'm not sure. I have no clue. We usually lots of people, like on Twitter or something, also call him Etch, just to not write Etcheverry. I use both kind of interchangeably. And actually, Max, even I just checked it now, but actually Fields' wildcard for Roland Garros has been announced already, alongside Gaston and of course Patrick Gibson, who won the USTA wildcard challenge. So he will definitely be in the French Open.
Is Team
You
needing
don't
a
have to
wild
worry.
card?
I think he was like first alternate or something like that. He was very close to getting in, I think, last time I checked. Let me see.
He's 96.
Second alternate. Given the fact that I don't know. I mean, 2 withdrawals. Who knows, right?
I mean,
He is the second alternate after Taro Daniel. Is there any like Carreño Busta still hasn't played? I think, right?
yeah,
Or has he?
he's pulled out of
Kyrgios.
Madrid.
Kyrgios.
Kyrgios, yeah, I don't think he'll play Paris.
Probably. Grigspor has just withdrawn from Rome, but I think he is trying to like handle his ankle injury before Roland Garros, so I doubt he will withdraw. Nakashima was playing; he was just not playing well. I don't know. Maybe some others. Mikael Immer, I'm not sure he has played so far.
Rafa, of course, is out.
Draper.
Yeah.
Could be Mutei maybe because he's still playing with his one-handed back with one-handed backhand and like clearly not that fit. Yeah, 2 withdrawals to get team inside, and like wildcard for him doesn't look too possible. I think at the French they usually are very careful about it, right? I mean, one goes to an American, one goes to an Australian because of those reciprocal deals, but they do have a lot of French guys that could get it, I think. So like Kazo, Mayo, they should give them really major wildcards, I think so. Let's see. But yeah, currently team is the second alternate. And in the qualies, he would be at this point in time the second seed behind Aslan Karatsev. Who's of course, his seeding ranking for the qualies is 53, but he's not gonna be inside the major of Roland Garros. So that's
Darren Cahill is tweeting something. Thanks for scouting Yannick's next opponent. Yannick Sinner seems to be a lot of people purring over his performance today. I actually didn't watch it, but a lot of people saying that he was looking pretty good, albeit in his first match. Badosa, yeah, that was a comfortable win for her against Ons today, which may have surprised a few. But my issue with having, a lot of people talking about French Open predictions and stuff. My issue with having Ons amongst your sort of 3 or 4 favorites is I think we are ignoring the fact that she was out before we'd even woken up on the Sunday.
Who has her that high?
Nick.
Nah, I mean that's also actually because of the lack of clay court competition. Like slow clay, right? That he doesn't have her that high because she is in a strong spot right now because she is firing. He just has her because he doesn't have anyone else to fill out the podium with. So but that's literally true. But I would definitely have Badosa over Jabeur.
Really,
if
I
talking
wouldn't.
About that.
I wouldn't know, and even after today's result, I don't think I'd have Badosa. I think her run in Madrid flattered to deceive because Coco Gauff was just so bad, unfortunately, particularly in the second set.
In general, like the whole year from Badosa has been much better than people give her credit for. I think
possibly
the injury before the injury that forced her to miss out on the Australian Open, she was 4 love up, like in terms of win-loss record.
Yeah,
4-0. Then she, of course, withdrew from the semifinal in Adelaide and didn't play until February, where she got some insane draws. Haddad Maia and Samsonova, her first 2 matches back. That's partly because of the fact that the WTA does a crappy job organizing tournaments and building a schedule. But then at Indian Wells in Miami, she played Rybakina twice in the third round and once almost beat her. And since the clay began, she's winning 2 matches at least in every single event she plays. She is crushing plenty of opponents. Of course, she also has weaker performances. I mean, before beating Jabeur, she literally went to a deciding tiebreak with Anna-Lena Friedsam, right? But I do think that the injury and the fact that she had to miss out on the Australian Open has kind of just created an illusion of Badosa being in poor form this year, which was never really the case. Even when she won just 2 matches in 4 consecutive events, she was just playing top 20 opposition, top 10 opposition in them. She played Rybakina twice, Samsonova and Haddad Maia in these 6 matches, right? So, yeah.
Somebody's suggesting, I think it's Elena in the chat, that Ons is injured, but I'm not sure if she's just talking about her previous injury from Stuttgart or whether that flared up again today. I'm actually surprised that she recovered so soon, actually, because the injury in Stuttgart looked like it could be French Open threatening, but she's obviously feeling comfortable enough to be back already. The German producer has switched over to Fils and Rune. I guess there's a break in the Novak match. But of course, Rune is serving at 50.
They're starting back up. Etcheverry, it's like the third point in Djokovic Etcheverry. I actually switched off Fils and Rune. Doesn't seem like there's going to be that much happening there. And also the last men's match of the day has started between Ruud and Rinderknech.
Yeah, I saw that.
Excited for that one, but it's a bit of a question mark with Rinderknech not having played in a while. I was surprised he won his third round his first round in straight sets against Cobolli, because that seemed already like a very tough match, just in his comebacks, so to speak. He retired in Miami. I can't really remember what the injury was, but yeah, he was out for a while. Generally wasn't doing well this year at all, other than like a semi-final in Paul. So yeah, I was surprised he beat Cobolli, and he did push Ruud a few years back in Kitzbühel. Of course, Kitzbühel much better for him conditions-wise, and even though Ruud in 2021 in the summer was probably stronger than right now, so was Rinderknech. So not sure what to expect from that one, but would like to see a close battle there as well, which is doable now with how Ruud has been looking.
Yeah, Ruud, that's an interesting one. I thought maybe he always see Patrick Mouratoglou's there again. I still can't work out whether it was so bizarre that Patrick announced that they've been separating, or that their 6-month agreement had come to an end. Let's say, and then I still see Patrick with him.
No, but when he is in when Rune was in Munich, for example, Patrick wasn't going to be there because he's not traveling to Munich. But when he's at an event anyway, then he's sitting in his box and, like giving him advice as well, because why not? I mean, he's already at an event. It wasn't like before the 6-month agreement started, Mouratoglou was never in his box. Mouratoglou wasn't working with him, because he was. I mean, Rune has been part of the academy forever. So yeah, like when he's at the same event, then why wouldn't he be sitting in his box, right?
So I guess that means he's still his coach, does it? I don't really know.
I mean, no, he's somewhere in the picture, given that Rune is part of the academy, but he is not part of the team.
If this was a relationship, Damien, it would be a relationship that's no longer functioning in the way it used to. They're both free to see other people, but occasionally they do go out together.
Some people thought that it meant that Halep was going to be back, but for now it doesn't seem like.
What is going on there? I mean, at least on the surface, innocent till proven guilty.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
I mean, it's just like in real life, right? The court usually takes a really long time to before you even have a meeting. It's terrible. Like, it shouldn't work like this. What are these people at the ITIA doing for the past? Like, what they've been doing for the past 5 months is, of course, gathering evidence, which is a nice answer.
More than 5.
In some cases,
October last year. So what's that?
Yeah, like in some cases, of course, gathering evidence takes this much time. I don't know if this is really one of them.
But surely she should be allowed to play tennis in the meantime.
She's provisionally suspended, and that's what they do for all of these, actually. She shouldn't really be allowed, because then she stops playing. Like, if you get a positive doping test and you are allowed to continue playing, if it actually turns out that you're guilty, then you have to, of course, return all your winnings. But no one is going to give the other players these winnings, right? Like, no one is going to give them the ranking points. So I think that's probably the basis for it. I think it's that it would be unfair for other players to still allow the other person, the person who has been accused of doping, the person who has had a positive test, to compete. you lose to someone who has had a positive test on them, and like
Yeah, that's true. What about though also the fact that she may have won a tournament on the basis of a positive test, and she doesn't get to give that back and have to return that. So it's almost, let's just think of it like this. You might go, you know what? I might take the risk because I can win a tournament and I'll get a 12-month suspension. But if I don't take this, whatever, then I'm just wondering if that thought
I mean,
process
that would make sense if doping in tennis was anything that really like gives you the win. But
huge
that's
advantage.
not really the case, right? I mean, it can make you stronger, but it can't make your tennis level go up. It can make you, no, I mean, that's why these sort of divagations, I think, are impossible for a tennis player.
Yeah.
Just because no doping can guarantee you the win. No doping can actually make you be better than someone else. They can make you stronger. They can make you last longer. They can make you, I don't know, get back to your best form physically, best shape earlier. But
Djokovic is broken, by the way, as well.
I am watching it right now.
But yes, it's a real frustration for her. I mean, listen, maybe the end of this process will still see her, rightfully banned, if you like. But it'll be a real shame if if she wins this appeal, if you like, and then she's been denied 8 months of her tennis career or however long it lasts for.
Have you, by the way, heard the most recent crazy explanation for a doping test that Andrei Martin has come up with?
Tell me.
I don't know if he's come up with, maybe it's actually true. So he was playing a floorball tournament in Slovakia. Do you know what floorball is? It's like
No.
these hockey, like hockey played inside.
Okay.
I don't know if, I mean, floorball, that's the name in English. So,
Okay.
in Polish, I think it's unihockey or something like this. Yeah, it's literally hockey on the inside. There's no ice. There's no ice. It's just played, on like
Carpet.
I guess when I played it in school, it was just like in a gymnastics hall or something
Okay.
like this. So like it's not on ice. You just have normal shoes. There's of course goals, just like normally in hockey, but you're playing. You have a puck, you have sticks, but you're just running. Anyway, he said that he was playing an event like this, and a friend of his, or like someone on his team, had a water bottle that was identical to his in appearance, and that bottle included the substance. And he is still banned for like 11 months or something like this. For even though they said that he bore like no fault of his, like no fault in this, that it was just not even negligence, I think it was said, but they still have to like punish him at least in some way. I don't know if this is actually true, right? But even if it is, or even if it isn't, like it just adds to that crazy list of excuses that we have seen recently. If it's true, okay, but is it really possible that this is true? That Erani's tortellini is true? That all of these things that we've heard, the Colombian meat that Robert Farah, I think, exempted himself with. I don't know. There's a lot of coincidences there, which I think perhaps maybe some of these explanations are true, some of them are not. Or of course, Jastremska, right, was proven innocent because of sex. The same in Poland right now. We have she was either Ukrainian or Russian. I can't actually remember. Maybe she was Ukrainian before she joined the Polish, started representing Poland. Anastasia Shoshina, she was great in all these pandemic pandemic exhibitions in Poland in 2020, and she's also on a long ban right now, and also tried to explain it through sex. So it is like a plague, I guess. There's just a lot of crazy that we've heard. Probably some are true. Some others are probably just something that they came up with, and most of the time they were successful. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, Halep. I don't know. I mean, maybe she's guilty. So I just don't know. I know she was going through a rough patch anyway last year with various things. I think various operations and time out from the sport anyway. But on the tennis side, I must say she's not the most exciting tennis player I've ever seen. So it's not somebody that I think of a lot in terms of supporting her. But if she's innocent in this whole situation, it is pretty rubbish. Holger Rune has won in straight sets 6-3, 6-3. Novak now is very much in charge of his match, 7-6, 2-love. I think Casper Ruud, they're both on serve at the moment in the alternative Arthur. Where's Casper Ruud? Yes, so we've got two Arthurs that have been in action. Arthur Fils losing to Holger Rune, and Rinderknech is serving at 4-5. Garin, I guess he's a clay court specialist. That's the right expression, although I know we got to Wimbledon quarterfinals last year, but that was courtesy of course, I think Berrettini basically getting COVID and therefore having to pull out, and then Garin picks up his place in the draw. He did get involved in a few epic matches, though, Garin. I think one was a 5-setter. But I certainly wouldn't have him down as a grass court specialist. That is for sure. Tommy Paul, I mean, he's obviously ranked pretty highly, so therefore he's seeded 16, etc. But on clay, he's not really pulling up any trees.
He's probably not number 16 on any surface, frankly. I mean, he just had that Australian Open semi-run, right?
Okay. I mean,
more accurately, I would say
Harris
he would be
Bertie
like
as well was a good run for him,
30 or something.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, he's not that bad on clay. He's definitely among the best Americans on it.
No, but there's not a lot of competition for that, is there? I mean, Taylor Fritz probably the best, is he? Maybe
last year you would probably like have to think whether it's Paul or Fritz. This year Fritz has definitely taken the lead.
Yeah, although of course Tiafoe is the guy who's got the title.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Tiafoe. Yeah, you're right. He is among them. Yeah. Probably now maybe lower than Fritz, but yeah, last year probably Tiafoe would have been. Although other than the Estoril final, I guess Tiafoe also didn't really do that well on clay last year. But yeah, you're right. I mean, in the past he has. So
Novak has just put
Jack Sock was always
yeah.
them,
Novak has put one of the easiest volleys you've ever seen in your life into the net. Can only be a lack of concentration, I think, from Novak.
He also like ran into it a little bit. You know, it wasn't really a forehand volley. It wasn't a backhand volley. He just did this like as if he had a fly swatter.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, he's put it into the net, so it's love 15. Was that me saying that? I don't think it was, but it might have been Damien. Don't know. Might have been someone else.
Yeah, something like that maybe. I tend to say cow on ice, so maybe. But it has improved.
How many times have we actually seen a cow on ice, by the way? I don't think I've ever seen it, but so maybe they're quite adept. Maybe cows are fine on ice and we're doing them a disservice. But yes, you would imagine a cow on ice would not be comfortable. Ooh, I thought that was going to clip the net and go over. It didn't, so it's 15-all.
There's also this bull in a china shop, right?
Yes, that's right. That's certainly an expression we use in English. Is there anything in Polish like that, by the way?
Yeah, there's słoń w składzie porcelany, which is literally like elephant in a porcelain factory. China shop is okay, I guess. So it's literally just the same, but with elephant instead of bull.
Yeah.
Jane says she has seen a cow on ice. So.
Oh, there we go. And yeah, maybe bulls are fine. Maybe
she hasn't really said it, explicitly. I think she inferred it because unless she also hasn't lived. So
okay. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. Bulls in china shops, you would imagine, would be a little bit on the careless side. Anyway, counting your chickens before they've hatched. Is there a way of saying that in Polish?
Probably. I don't know. I mean, coming up with these is usually quite tough unless you like have them, instantly. There's this thing, lepszy wróbel w garści niż gołąb na dachu, which means like it's better to have Jesus. Let me check how this bird is in English because
did you say gallo
sparrow?
Or like
No, I mean a sparrow. So it's better to have a sparrow in your hand than a pigeon on the roof. And that literally means like the same thing. That it's better to, have something already that's yours that you can grasp rather than something that is in the future, like it should be yours, it will be yours, but like it's not certain, right? So
I think
that's
we've got something else in English for that. We've got better to have a bird in the hand than two in the bush. So yeah, so I think that's closer because the other one that I mentioned about chickens and hatching is more about overconfidence and complacency.
Yes. There is one. It's niedziel skóry na niedźwiedziu, which means something like it's even hard to like don't divide skin fur, I guess in this case maybe skin on a bear, which
Yes.
yeah, just before you kill the bear, don't already
Yep. I think the
divide
Spanish is
between
similar.
yourselves. Yeah.
Spanish is similar. They have one about skinning the bear before you've caught it, basically.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
I'm just adjusting my position because I need to charge my laptop.
I'm pretty sure people love all these English, Polish, Spanish discussions. And
I mean, it's partly because one or two of the matches that we were watching have gone off the boil. Novak now is up a break in the second set. He's at 40-30. There have been some pretty exciting points, nevertheless, but Novak going for the drop shot. Not the best drop shot in the world, but on this occasion, Etcheverry doesn't punish him, unlike at moments in the first set. And of course, Rune is now through. Do we only have maybe two matches live in terms of Ruud is the other one that's still happening?
Yeah, and then after they leave the court, I guess there's gonna be Pauline Yerbakin and Vondrousova Andreescu or not? No, actually, I think one of them will enter the court very soon. One of these pairs on the women's side, but yeah, like just two matches left on both for both genders, let's say. Pauline Rybakina is after Djokovic Etcheverry, and Vondrousova Andreescu will be on court shortly because they're after Rune and Fils. And of course, Ruud Rinderknech is the last match on Nicola Pietrangeli.
Yeah.
Pauline Rybakina, that could actually be quite tricky.
Oh, that's a good drop shot from Novak. He's really pulling out the class shots now. I guess Etcheverry had his moment when he was up a break in that first set, but from the moment that advantage was ceded, you kind of felt that Novak would win. So, of course, he did have a 5-3 advantage in the tie break, but wasn't able to get over the line. But now Novak is obviously searching for a second break of serve in this set. Novak's
looks like... Yeah, look, as you said, I mean, looks like a very classic Djokovic match in the early rounds so far, but definitely not a display of strength that would make us feel like he's definitely winning the whole thing or he's definitely going to the semis, quarters. Dimitrov in the next round could be tricky, frankly.
Yeah.
He has beaten him on clay before. Madrid, I think, which maybe could be slightly easier, but...
Yeah, I was surprised that Dimitrov won that match comfortably today against Wawrinka. I think I had Wawrinka to win the match at the beginning, but
everyone wanted to see that Djokovic Wawrinka match again, and
yeah.
Oh, actually, and that win that I mentioned for Dimitrov, I didn't even know, but it's the only time he beat Novak.
Oh wow!
That one in Madrid. I thought he must have had one. Like I wouldn't be able to tell you where, but I thought that probably there was one. But apparently not really. He only really took him to a decider twice since then, Cincinnati and Paris 2016. And otherwise it's been mostly pretty mostly pretty straightforward affairs for Djokovic. Outside of that Wimbledon semi, of course, that was also really good. And even this year in Melbourne they played a good match, right? Just straight sets, but it was 3 hours.
Yeah, the first set really maybe. I think that again it was a tiebreaker from memory. It was,
It was,
and I think there was chances for Dimitrov in that tiebreaker. But there is a story. I cannot substantiate it too much, but there's a story that a member of Dimitrov's team was quite annoyed with Novak after the match and confronted him about his injury. Because that was the match really when it was probably sort of most apparent.
There was a Twitter thing, right, where Ivanisevic and Valverde had some things to say, and basically Valverde, I think, posted maybe a video. No, was it maybe Ivanisevic who said something? No, I don't want to mess this up, but definitely there was a Twitter feud between Ivanisevic and Dani Valverde, and Valverde. Well, Ivanisevic suggested that Valverde is a crappy coach because he didn't tell Dimitrov to drop shot Novak 100 times because
Okay.
Novak was struggling, right? And then Valverde recorded a point from that match
Hmm.
and showed that what happened when Dimitrov was trying to drop shot Novak, which
Okay.
Novak just run it down and killed
Yeah.
won
Which
the
is
point
also
easily.
suggesting that Novak was quite healthy. And it looks
Yes.
like Casper Ruud is going to win this. No, it's now very much deep into the rally again. He was in charge of the rally, but a run around forehand puts him back in charge again, and he does win the point, and he wins the set. So Casper Ruud has won the first set against Arthur Rinderknech.
Yeah, so I'm not actually sure if it was Valverde who was first suggesting that Novak was not injured, or was it Ivanisevic first who said, yeah, just suggested that Dimitrov should have been drop shotting 100 times, but they definitely had a feud like this. And I can understand Valverde's frustration, even though he was actually getting wrecked in the comments. Because, well, I don't think his suggestion that Novak was injured was that much of an angry thought or something like this. I just believe that, well, he showed with the video that it wasn't necessarily a tactic to drop shot
Right.
him 100 times.
Right.
And to me it just didn't seem like the hate that he got was justified. At least how I understood his tweet was different. At the same time, I'm of course not suggesting that Novak was faking or something. He absolutely had no reason to do that, but I also agree with that. Playing 100 drop shots against him, no matter what the physical state, usually does not end well for you.
No, I don't recall somebody having. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe Carlos did it a bit in Madrid last year, and we may well get to see that again. But the other thing as well is, have you got that in your armory? I mean, it's all well and good saying this is your tactic, but if you can't hit drop shots, then it's not really something you can lean on. I mean, last week was great with Struff in the final, in that the things that he could do also were good tactics against Carlos. Aggressive returns, a bit of serve volleying, excellent touch at the net, all of these things which we think, that could upset Carlos's rhythm. Thomas Jan can do. If you can't serve and volley, well, then it's not a tactic for you, So perhaps Dimitrov is not so adept at the drop shot, but it's also not something that I think that what you're saying as well is that he was saying this is not a tactic that's going to work against Novak today, because we've just seen him chase down a drop shot pretty impressively. I think the one he may be talking about was in that first set tiebreak as well.
Possibly. I mean, Ivanisevic was just suggesting that if he was playing the match instead of Dimitrov, he would have drop shotted 100 times. Which, I think it's just not right that that it would have actually worked. Even if you were Carlos Alcaraz in that match, it would be overplaying it a little bit. Just if it's too predictable, it's also going to be such a problem. And maybe we saw something like what you were talking about, with if you're not comfortable with a tactic, it's not really in your arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
We saw something like this, I guess, in the Miami final, but also in comparison to what happened in the Miami final, in Indian Wells, where in Indian Wells, of course, Alcaraz just has the skill set to disrupt Medvedev like this. And then Sinner comes in, tries to use some of that in the Miami final, and he loses every single point where he went to the drop shot, right? So he did it 8-9 times, I think. Someone told me, I think maybe it was actually Vansh who told me that he counted them, and it was 8 or 9 points where he went to the drop shot in the Miami final, lost all of them. So that's what happens when something isn't in your repertoire, but you're trying to introduce it anyway because the opponent is vulnerable to this. Of course, I still think he should have tried, because clearly with the physical state as well that he was in, there was no chance he would have won the match, in any other way. So I still think it's good he tried, but it was clearly not going to work anyway. So
Indeed. Indeed. Something else is not working is at the moment is Etcheverry, and to some extent he's love 15 down and 2-4. Yeah, I see Ghosty asking about the women's photo. I think it's a bit different because we've got something to go on here. We know about this feud between Goran and the coach of Dimitrov. Whereas what Ghosty's touching on is that there was no women's final photo together between Sabalenka and Iga. But bearing in mind the organization in Madrid left a lot to be desired at times, that it may have just been they were just not asked. They would. I mean, it sounds bizarre, I know, but there may not have been there was so many things that didn't happen in Madrid. I don't think that they were like thinking, oh, we're going to be really malicious here and we're not going to do a women's final speech because that we don't think they're deserving of. I just think that sometimes they just didn't think about it. You know, I would ask questions to the officials of ATP and WTA, and it looked like they were making up things as they were going along with what was going to happen and what could happen and what shouldn't happen. And I think it was more that potentially than a deliberate scenario where Iga said, "I'm not having a photo with."
I mean,
Sabalenka.
yeah. I mean, Sabalenka Świątek. Yeah, I don't think so. In Poland right now, there are a lot of people who are trying to paint this as if Sabalenka hates Świątek, and like there's just a lot of hate for Sabalenka in Poland. Not the media, I would say, just fans. I see it on like Facebook. There's like a couple of big tennis groups which I don't participate in. I just see these posts
observe.
and I just get so pissed off reading that people. It's a bit of a Polish thing. Like we, I guess, it's historical. I could go deep into it. I could probably write an essay about it, but it really it's about education and like history. Never mind. But people are definitely trying to make it out as if Sabalenka and Świątek hate each other, and then they also hate Sabalenka, which just to me is incredibly stupid. And yeah, there's like no basis to really think that. But when it comes to the trophy ceremony, this is something so like it's such a routine, right? It's impossible that you just randomly skip the speeches. I think. It's a thing they've done even in Madrid, where I don't know, Feliciano Lopez has probably been the tournament director for like 5 years or something like this, and it's just impossible, in my opinion, to think that they could possibly that they could possibly just forget about the speeches. That's never gonna happen. I mean, that's never happened in the history of tennis.
I mean, okay, they probably just didn't realize that how significant it was going to be in terms of the fact that they probably thought, well, this match could go for this period of time. We've got the Carlos Struff final at 6:30. We don't want it to start late for X, Y, or Z reason. Also, I think Ghosty's getting a little bit confused with some of the things. Basically, I just don't know if Iga said, I don't want to have a photo with Aryna Sabalenka. I have no idea if that conversation ever occurred. Maybe it did, and therefore we're going to find out that it did. But I will say this, in the press conferences afterwards, both players were, it seemed like almost intentionally gushing over their opponents. They kept saying, but Iga's so good, and this what makes this win even more special. And Iga was the same about Aryna as well, calling each other by their first names too, and just very, very... so much that they were praising their opponent. It almost seemed like, it was almost like they were trying to put a lid on maybe some of this stuff. And I don't know if the Iga's behavior in the press conference did not suggest that she had just refused to have a photo taken alongside Aryna. That doesn't mean that she didn't. We just don't know. Oh, Vance is going to get a mention again, I bet, because the video footage has come up on my TV. Let's see what they say if they do mention Vance again. Yep. Source, Twitter, Vance. See if I can get a quick picture of this.
And that's how misinformation is produced.
There you go.
Exactly. That's how. Ghosty. It's not that Polish fans think Sabalenka hates Iga because of the picture. Like this has been going on for a while, and the biggest cases in point were the Stuttgart finals. What Sabalenka did with the car this year, for example. Like Polish fans hate this. which, for me, it was a pretty funny moment. But Polish fans think that she really wanted to, like, it was not funny, it was cringe-worthy. She really wanted to, like, destroy that car. You could see that she really wants the car. Last year, even they kept saying that at the trophy ceremony in Stuttgart, Sabalenka, you could see that she wants to, like, scratch this car that Świątek won or something. Yeah, she just lost the final. I mean, do you just expect her to be, bumbling, fumbling, whatever, just be overjoyed with the fact? Of course not. And I don't think Iga openly dislikes Russians, Belarusians. I mean, the fact that you are against the war and openly saying it doesn't really mean you dislike every single person from the country. I mean, does Iga Świątek hate Daria Kasatkina, for example? Of course not, right? Especially that's a massive oversimplification, I think, to say that she openly dislikes Russians and Belarusians. And Sabalenka has also never had anything questionable that she said in regards to the war. So yeah, and Djokovic, of course, has just won. Very quick second set affair. In fact, exactly the same score as against Ivan Gakov at Monte Carlo.
There we go.
Right?
There we go. Echoes of Gakov. Yep. Perhaps Iga and Arena are not friends. That would be probably a closer.
Yeah, they're not, but
Who are
they have to have some respect for each other, and yeah, they keep showing that actually, and people just try to sort of write, add more to the story than massive oversimplification is what I am doing. With what? With the fact that she does not openly dislike Russians and Belarusians? I don't think so.
Yeah. I think we'll soon find out, because they're so good that they're going to be in a few more finals, and if it happens again, then we'll know that it is an eager stance on not having pictures taken. But if it happens, like if they're in the Wimbledon final or French Open or whatever, and it'll just show that it was probably just a thing. We don't even know if it didn't take place. We just can't find a picture of the two and the trophy. That's all we know. That you would expect that picture to exist somewhere if it did happen, but there's just so many ifs, buts, and maybes that it's just completely different to the Dimitrov and Djokovic story we're talking about, because there's no ifs, buts, and maybes there. There is, this has happened. Okay, it could have been falsified, maybe certain things, but with this one, we're looking for something. We don't have any evidence as such, because we don't have a comment from Iga, we don't have a comment from Arena, and we just don't have a picture or non-picture to go on, if you like. So it's far easier to prove something has happened than something hasn't, if that makes sense. What's Novak writing? No doubt he'll be writing something in Italian, just because of his ability to switch between languages. Although maybe it is in Italian. I'm trying to read Italian backwards, which is not easy. Let me tell you that.
He usually speaks in Italian at these events.
He does,
right?
yeah. He certainly speaks in Italian, yeah.
Yeah, Ghosty, as you said, it's probably a bit hard to discuss this via text. Sorry if I misrepresented your position. Of course, wasn't my intention. Anyway, I guess I will run. The matches that have interested me have finished.
Yes, do it, Damien. Thanks for stopping by. And his message was in Serbian, so I have even less chance of being able to write it. I'll leave you with the thought of Holger Rune playing Fognini anyway in Rome.
See ya.
See ya. So Novak Djokovic is through. A bit too many unforced errors, perhaps, from the Serb today. 30, much more than his Argentinian opponent, but the 26 winners to 13 did for Etcheverry. And as Damien rightly pointed out, that 7-6, 6-2 scoreline, very, very similar. In fact, not just very similar, exactly the same as the result earlier. Yeah, why isn't Iga asking the WTA to do more about the American players who represent? Well, indeed, that's a global point that I think is very worth making, but I don't know if it's Iga's position to do so. But anyway, yeah, Rune Fognini, does that excite us, people? Are we pumped for that possibility? If you're not pumped for Rune Fognini, perhaps you're not going to be pumped for many tennis matches, because that, as Tumaini here tweets out, will be chaos. Indeed, Max. Indeed. I guess we've just got Holger. We've just got Casper Ruud. Ghosty, I agree. I agree. I don't know if it's Orwellian. Or, I think it's talking about Orwellian. The Russians all thought that 1984 was written about the Germans, and the Germans all thought it was written about the Russians. Whereas, of course, really it was written about both. Or it was written about everyone, really. Paul Orwell didn't get to see how successful, at least in terms of the expressions from the books such as Big Brother and even Orwellian itself, unfortunately didn't get to see how that manifested itself, because I think he died a couple of years after it was published. Anyway. Yeah, we've got the women's match with Andriescu and Vondrousova. And Casper Ruud, who's just won the first set against Rinderknech. And I'm getting pretty hungry. Let me know in the live chat, what should I have for dinner? I've seen Max talking about fries in the past, so I'm getting the impression that she's a fries fan. Ruud and Rinderknech are sitting down at a break of... let's have a little promo video, and I'll be back with you in 90 seconds. You can count.
Thanks for tuning into this watch along. While there's a break in play, here's a reminder to hit the like button, subscribe, and click that notification bell. Your support helps to keep the channel going. While we're here, you can now become a member to enjoy perks including badges for the live chat, but also bonus material such as interviews with top players from both ATP and WTA tours. The membership link is pinned in the live chat. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. So whether it be serves or volleys, forehands or backhands, serve bots or drop shots, we've got you covered, whether that be via our website, talking-tennis.com, where you can read features and interviews from our top writers. Or if you prefer us in audio form, you can subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Amazon or Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Remember, we offer you wall-to-wall coverage via our regular watch-alongs, magazine shows such as Nick's WTA Weekly or Damien and Mario's ATP version. Plus, we deliver top content from people on the ground, actually at the tournaments, so you get even nearer to the action. So, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Ghosty. That's an interesting story. What occurred to you in 2003. That sounds very interesting and sounds like you're pretty consistent. I don't think Damien took anything personally that you said, not that I'm aware of. Vondrousova BB will be an exciting one, I think, but I will probably bring this stream to an end at the conclusion of the Ruud Rinderknech match, which I have on my screen right now. Casper hitting a forehand, and it could be concluding very, very soon. It's love 30 on the Rinderknech serve, and he could be getting bageled in this second set. Casper really having a pretty underwhelming time of things since he reached the ATP Tour finals last year. In fact, if we think about Casper there with getting to the Miami final, getting to the French Open final, getting to the US Open final, and the ATP Tour finals final, in a way, I wonder if Casper has one or two regrets about those finals. I mean, I don't think there was a lot he could do about the Rafa one in Paris, but maybe if he'd have won that tiebreak against Carlos in New York, there was I don't think Carlos was playing the sensational tennis that he produced in the quarterfinal or even the semi against Tiafoe, the quarterfinal, of course, against Sinner. But there, Casper was in with a shout at that match. And if he wins that third set tiebreaker, and I think he probably should have done, he should have done, I think he just zoned out or something went wrong for Casper for about a tiebreak and also the beginning of the the fourth set as well. Maybe even he had a break opportunity at the end of the, and he's just won, by the way, 6-4, 6-love. But I think he also had a break opportunity as well at the end of that third set against Carlos. But anyway, his finals record last year, I'm sure, would have disappointed him, at least in the big ones. But he has won today, 6-4, 6-love. A smiling Casper. It's very wholesome. Yep. I thought maybe, Max, that his win in Estoril might propel him to a decent clay court season. But let me tell you this. I think our memories of Casper and last year, of him making those finals I just mentioned and getting to the French Open final, is probably skewing our opinion of his clay court season. I don't think he had a great clay court season last year until he got to that French Open final. And perhaps the French Open final run was helped by the draw, Tsitsipas going out, Zverev, Carlos, Rafa, and Novak all in one half. So, and by the way, with the rankings the way they are, who knows? There could be a lopsided draw once again. But of course, we will be having Carlos go into that tournament as world number one, no matter what happens with him here in Rome, because he didn't play it last year. The points that he will gain just by merely taking the court, and of course Novak has to defend the points he accrued from winning the title. Six unforced errors from Casper in that second set, but I guess that might be something you expect bearing Casper's game, but also the fact that he won it 6-love. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, talking of the word peace, Ghosty, I will be saying peace out to you now at the conclusion of that Ruud Rinderknech match. So for the rest of you, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you are new. Let me just check. I think we're on about 1,900 subscribers. I don't know if we've gone beyond the 1,900 mark. So if you are tuning in right now, we have 11 of you watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. If you are not a subscriber, but I know that Ghosty is, I'm sure Max is too, and various other people that I've seen in the live chat recently. But if you are not a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button as we edge towards 2,000. I'm edging towards the exit door. As always, it has been a pleasure. So good evening, good morning, good day to you, wherever you are tuning in from. And I will be speaking to you all again very, very soon. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Still not at the desired level, still finding the shots. Every second, balance is up. Still great statement. You gotta deal with that. You gotta accept that conditions that they are, and then try to find that things up. And the way that you did well, that'll make you.
Also, Novak Djokovic nicht zu 100% zufrieden, was den Korb angeht. Das hat er schon.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.